That brings my grand total to welcome back to my channel. My name is Allison and I post a lot of content about budgeting and personal finances and also just lifestyle content. Today's video is going to be about my wedding budget for my wedding in June of 2024. If you are planning a wedding anytime soon, just know that it is honestly insane. I'm not even sure what our original budget was. Like, I want to say probably like $15,000 to $20,000, and yeah, I just don't know how people do that. I really don't. I don't know how people are budgeting for weddings. Like, we even feel like we tried really hard to find people who weren't like that expensive, and yet somehow it still just adds up like crazy. This isn't very motivational, but I know that there's definitely a way to do this for cheaper and like have a nice wedding for less money. Let's get started. Just for context and transparency, we're planning our wedding in New Hampshire, so these prices are, I guess, kind of like New Hampshire prices. I know everywhere is different, so take this with a grain of salt because I know that like in California it's probably double this. This is just the prices that we found, even like on the lower end for a lot of prices. So off with some of the main big expenses, obviously. The first thing we booked was the venue, because you need the venue and you need the date in order to book anything else. Our venue was $5,900, and yes, that is just for the space basically. We do get tables and chairs, use of like different areas of the venue, and a day of coordinator. So those kinds of things, so we felt like it was worth it. It was a newer venue too. Last year was their first like wedding season. So that kind of was super helpful for us. We got in at a good rate and they were just trying to like book people. We actually got that for a decent price. I think now, even like a year or so later, it's going for like $8,000 for especially like a peak season wedding. So I am happy with that. Obviously still pretty expensive, but generally that was the price for a lot of venues, but some venues just include a lot more things than others. So yeah, we just really liked the venue, and also it has some Airbnbs attached to the venue so that our friends and family and us can stay there, which that was like a huge selling point for us. So we're gonna include what we have paid already on these, so at the end I can do a total of like how much it's going to cost us and how much we've paid already. We paid our deposit, which was 50%, and so we paid $2,950 towards the venue already. Next expense is our biggest expense, which is probably how it is normally, but it is our catering. Catering cost is $11,665. Now, this price also could change a little bit as it gets closer based on like our final number of people attending the wedding. But again, this price also includes people like serving our meals. This is a sit-down meal, linens for the table, like silverware, all the kind of stuff that I don't really want to deal with on the wedding day. It also includes a bartender, because we need a bartender to serve the alcohol at our venue, as well as this price includes a full open bar for the amount of hours, like 4 hours or whatever it is, like the whole wedding. It's an open bar. So again, honestly, I thought that this price was decent for everything that we're getting. Is it a lot of money? Yes. Like, we could have gone a cheaper route, but our venue also requires the catering venue to have like certain certifications and like all this stuff, and this vendor already like was familiar with the venue, so everything just seemed to work out with this particular vendor for catering. I did get some quotes from other people. I feel like it was all relatively in the same range, but then again, like sometimes it was just the food and I still would have had to get a bartender and like open bar. So this one is like the whole package, and it just is gonna make things so much easier for us on the day. Like, they're gonna take care of everything. So far for that, we've only paid $2,500 as our deposit. But this is the one thing that my parents, and like, again, full transparency with you guys, I want to be honest, my parents are helping us pay for this portion of the wedding for a few reasons. One, because my mom was very, very adamant about having a sit-down plated meal. So I was like, well, if you're the one who's adamant about that, then you can help us pay for it. We'll also say that weddings bring out, you know, the best and worst in people, I guess, you know? I love my mom, I do, but she's very particular, she's very old school, she's very traditional, so a lot of this stuff is just like not happy that I'm not doing like traditional things. Next vendor was photography. The total is going to be $2,798, and that was for a certain amount of hours on the wedding day, a certain amount of photos at least, and then that also included an engagement photo session for us, which we already did. This was a low price in my area. A lot of people were like at least over like $4,000. We even, like, this is us like trying to budget and we're still ending up with these numbers, so it's just crazy out there. And also, I just really, really liked her work. Photography is something that for a wedding that you want to have some good photos, because this is something that you want to remember forever. Me and my fiance aren't the most, like, we don't love getting our photo taken, so I wanted a certain type of like aesthetic, and she had what I was looking for. It's very light and airy and not like super like filtered or anything. I just feel like everything looks natural with her. And then especially like when we met her for our engagement shoot, like, she was just so nice, she's so friendly, and she was able to get us to like feel comfortable. So I'm super happy we went with her, and I do feel like the price is going to be worth it. The total we've paid already is $1,553. The next thing is videography. For the longest time, I just didn't think I was going to do video at all. The more people I talked to, I guess it was kind of like, no, you really should. And how many times am I really gonna sit down and watch my wedding video? I don't really know. But we found a girl who, like, I'm on all these Facebook groups, and which I highly suggest doing if you're looking for any vendors and stuff. She was posting that she's a photographer but looking to also get into videography. So she was offering like really, really good prices. She moved, but she was originally from the area that we're getting married in, so she was super excited when I reached out. She was like, oh my god, my family's from that area, like it'll work out, like when I come back we can visit. Like, I'm excited now that I can have a videographer and for a good price, because she's kind of just starting out, but I still trust her because, again, I saw her work and I just thought like it kind of fits the vibe of what we're going for. For the videography, it's going to be $1,450, which again, like, people are paying upwards of like $4,000 for that, so I'll take it. And we've paid $1,087 already. The next vendor, I feel like a lot of people have, this is the one that a lot of people have feelings on when I say the price, is our flowers. I do want real flowers. That is something that's important to me. It means that it's more expensive. This is also, the vendor I chose was somebody that I know personally, and I know she's going to do an amazing job. I worked with her previously. She actually went part-time with like what we do for work to pursue doing wedding flowers for weddings, and she does an amazing job. I think, like, one, I was probably gonna spend around this amount of money anyway on real flowers, so why not choose somebody that I know, and one, I trust them, and two, I'd rather give my money to her than like somebody else. So this number can also change a little bit. It might go down a little because I'm changing a few things. Florals, we are paying $6,264, which kind of hurts, but at the same time, like I said, I really do want a good amount of flowers, because the venue space like is nice, but like I feel like it needs something to make it feel extra. We're using a lot of the flowers for other things, so we're doing an arch, so we needed flowers for the arch, some arrangements for like while you're walking down the aisle, but then those are going to get moved and used for our like sweetheart table, bouquets, boutonnieres, like all these things, like to do something for like the wall behind us when we're sitting at the sweetheart table as well. So it's an expense that I do want to put my money towards. So far out of the flowers, we've paid $1,253. The next vendor is our DJ. Again, I went with someone who, it's from a reputable company, but he was like one of the newer DJs, I believe. So his price package was lower. I felt like, one, I liked that he's younger in age because music is something that's important to me and my fiance, and I want someone who kind of grew up with our generation of music. So I feel like he will have a good idea of like what we want to have playing at our wedding. We needed to, in order to put money towards certain other things that were more important, you kind of need to cut costs in other areas. Our DJ is going to be $1,400 and we've paid $300 so far. And the next vendor is cake, and this is all the stuff that comes up too when you're like start planning a wedding. You kind of know all the things you need, but then once you really start planning and booking stuff, it's like that's when you really are like, oh my god, I have like 10, 12 different vendors we need, and it's like it gets very overwhelming towards the end. It's getting closer and they're all reaching back out to you like for final details and things, and you're just like, oh my god, I have so many different people to keep track of and different vendors and like all this, and like it all needs to come together on the same day. So like, next vendor is our cake vendor. This was again someone that I had to do a little bit of research. I wanted a small like vintage heart cake for us in white, and it was kind of hard actually to find somebody who could do that as well as make like cupcakes for everyone else. People were like, no, like for weddings we only do like round or square, like whatever, we just keep to these specific things. So it was honestly kind of hard to find someone who would do like the heart cake for us and then also cupcakes, but we found someone. So again, I felt like this was worth it for me. And we did a tasting and it was so good, so I'm really happy with our choice. But for the cake and I think like 6 or 7 dozen cupcakes, it's gonna be and delivery and setup is $775. And we've only paid $50 for our deposit so far. Next expense is our officiant. It's actually a family friend, kind of. She did my best friend's wedding. It's actually her aunt. She offered to do it for free, but I think that I'm gonna give her some money because she does this as part of like her business now, you know, like she does this for other weddings like for money. So I'm gonna give her some money because I feel like it's like the right thing to do. $100 or $200, and then also she can hang around because she's the aunt of my maid of honor, so she can hang around and have like, we'll probably get extra meals for the vendors. So next was our save the dates and invitations, including envelopes, stamps, all the stuff. Came to $320, and we've bought all of that stuff already, so we paid $320. I went with a company called Truly Engaging, and I highly recommend. I had such a good experience and I think they did an amazing job. Quality is amazing. Included also like RSVP cards and the RSVP envelopes, and then some people are getting like QR code RSVPs. Like, I don't know, I just feel like we got a lot for what we paid for, so I'm happy with that, and I'm happy with the price, because like I feel like I heard some people were spending like $1,000 on this. I'm like, no. Next expense is our wedding bands. We did buy those. 10% discount because we went back to the place that he bought my ring from. So total for my ring and his ring was $1,789, and we paid the whole thing when we bought them. Next is hotel rooms for the two of us. Like I said before, the venue has Airbnbs attached like on the 2nd and 3rd levels. We'll be staying there the Thursday, maybe Thursday, Friday, Saturday is what I did, because I think you needed at least 2 nights. I'm from New Hampshire, but we currently live in Pennsylvania, so we're gonna be traveling to our own wedding, so it would be nice just to have somewhere to stay for like a few days. So I think that's what we did. Then I had to book 2 because we're not gonna stay in the same room the night before, which I don't really know. Like, I don't think that's a big deal. That's so old school, but I don't know. I booked us 2 rooms just in case we want to do that, we don't want to do that, or we can give the room to like one of his friends. Like, I don't know. The cost for that is $685 and we have paid $137 so far. Next is any kind of like random decor. I did buy like a YouTube video about how I'm making my signs. Very crafty person, I've always have been, and I enjoy it. So I'm making our table numbers and then probably our signature drink thing, as well as our welcome sign and seating chart, like all the major things. I'm gonna be making those myself to help save us money. So far I think I budgeted, let's see, I budgeted like $500 for any kind of other random decor that I might need or want. And so far we've spent $316. So the only other thing that I need, I did buy already, I think this price includes a Polaroid camera and film for our like guest book. So I need to buy the book for our guest book, a card box or something. But the thing is my dress. I did get my dress. It took, by the way, also if you're planning a wedding, go dress shopping early, because depending on what you want, like if you're doing a sample sale or something, then you can go and whatever you'll get, you'll take with you that day. But most likely they'll have to order it, and mine took, I ordered it in April, I believe, and it came in December. So it took a really long time to get my dress. I did have like one custom thing, I think. I took out one of the layers, so that also could affect the time as well. But just to keep in mind, your dress might take a long time. My dress was $2,000 and it's paid for, that my dad paid for. Again, full transparency, we love my dad. The next section is alterations and like accessories and stuff. I budgeted $700. I have literally no idea how much the alterations are gonna cost. My dress, it fits pretty good. It just needs like a little bit like taken in a few areas. Category could be more than that, but got these like this piece for my hair because I'm not wearing a veil, but I want to like wear my hair down and like have a little like hair piece thing. Shoes, any kind of undergarments, like things like that. And so far I've spent $250 because I did buy shoes already and like some accessories. So lastly that I can think of, like I'm sure there's other little things that I missed, but last thing would be the tux rental. I had to Google this because again I don't know, and he needs to honestly get on it. Like he's stressing me out that he hasn't gone and like gotten their tux rentals yet. But anyway, I'm assuming it's gonna be like $250. I'm not really sure, it could be more than that. $0 on that so far. That is all the categories I have. Okay, so that brings my grand total to $38,846. Yay! Which, yeah, again, realistically, like in my brain, I thought we would be at like 20,000. Things happen, I guess. The reality of planning a wedding just like slaps you in the face. In the grand scheme of things, don't think it's that bad. And it's funny because like when you break it down, like besides like the catering and like flowers and menu, the rest of it isn't really that much, but it adds up so quickly. All in all, I don't know. I feel like obviously it's way more than what I had originally anticipated paying. A good position to pay for this, as well as like we got engaged in like September of 2022 and we're not getting married until June of 2024. So we had almost 2 years to save and pay things like as we go. I knew that my parents were going to help out with certain things, and we're in like, you know, such a privileged position where we have help. I feel very fortunate that my parents offered and helped. So planning a wedding, you really have to think about that. And as much as it's awkward, like even my parents, talking to them about it, they can be a little bit like, they don't want to talk about like exact numbers or whatever. but you do need to know a rough estimate of like what they're willing to help contribute to the wedding, because that can make a big impact on your choices. I think it's just important to remember as well, like stay within like a budget range where if you did have to pay for everything yourself, like you could make it work. I'm not trying to like boast or brag or be like, oh, we're having this extravagant wedding, because it's really not. It's more about like the transparency and honesty about what it's like planning a wedding these days. I was honestly shocked too, and again, I'm someone who was going out of my way to get different quotes. That is the cost of our wedding, and as I mentioned, I was going through about how much we've paid so far. So far we've paid $15,630, so not even half, which is that is the scary part of like wedding planning, because most people only need a certain amount up front, and then as it gets closer, that's when you give more money. Always say this to anybody, like once you pick your date, that's immediately when you need, like basically once you get engaged, you need to be saving, and you need to kind of have a plan on how you're going to save, because it's probably going to be more money than you think to have a wedding. What we did was created a joint high-yield savings account with a number that both of us could into that account each paycheck just for wedding things, so that we had enough money come the wedding to pay for everything. We are on a good trajectory to be able to pay everything, but it is still very stressful, and again, I'm just sharing with you guys everything that, you know, we're going through in the wedding planning process. So thank you guys for watching this video. If you found it interesting or informational, feel free to subscribe and follow along, and I will give you guys more updates as the wedding gets closer. See you guys in the next video.